All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today, I'm going to be talking about healing through energy medicine and energy healing. I will give you guys some very important information that I think is just critical when it comes to a holistic form of healing. And so, just a little bit about me and my background. As you guys know, my name is Lizette. I am a national board certified health and wellness coach. I have my professional coaching certifications, but I am huge when it comes to holistic health and holistic healing, especially holistic healing therapy methods. And so, on top of coaching, I'm also a registered yoga teacher, certified personal trainer. And related to this topic today, I am an intuitive energy healer, an energy medicine practitioner. And so, I cannot even tell you how important I think it is to know about energy medicine and energy healing. It has helped me tremendously. It is a holistic therapy modality that I practice on myself. I've also helped my clients heal. And so I know that it works. I know how amazing it is. And I just want to shout it from the rooftops, which is why I'm doing this Zoom call today to educate you and answer any questions that you have in case that you are interested in trying energy healing as a holistic healing modality for yourself or anyone else that you think could benefit. So for today, these are the things that I'm planning on covering with you. I'm going to do an introduction of energy medicine, and then we're going to do an overview of why energy medicine is important to understand when it comes to the mind-body connection. Then we're going to talk about energy healing and the coaching process, what I actually do with my clients. And then finally, we're going to talk about effective methods to manage your emotional, mental, and physical health and well-being when it comes to energy healing or just creating that awareness within yourself. Okay, so let's talk about energy medicine. First things first, I like to introduce research, which is important to understand, and then I will explain it in an easy way possible for everybody to comprehend. You may or may not know this, but I'm going to school for my PhD studying holistic and integrative health. And so research is really important to me to understand where this information came from. And so I'm sharing that with you because energy medicine is not some, thing that people just made up. It's actually science-based and it's research. So let's talk about the science behind energy medicine. So energy fields are all around us. They're all throughout the universe, the earth, everything surrounding you. And so when it comes to energy fields, they work to govern the fundamental biological processes. They also govern the biofield surrounding the body of each individual and the local energetic fields within specific parts of the body. Okay, so energy is everywhere around us and it's within us. Both the universal and personal energy fields introduce a 7-layer model of human energy field. And each layer represents different parts of your energy field: the physical, the mental, emotional, and spiritual functions and frequencies within your body. So, energy medicine can help to balance each layer of the human energy field that you have within you so you can experience re-energized energy, realignment with your energy, and balance, which will also balance the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual frequencies within the body. Okay. So that is the research and the science behind it. Now, let me break it down in my own words. So, everything in this world has its own source of energy. The universe has its own source of energy, which we discussed, and even you have your own source of energy. So when you think about the world around you, that means the planets, the trees, the sun, the moon, the grass, the stars have its own source of energy. And so you are not excluded from that. So when you are thinking about energy, let's talk about the holistic side of health. When you are optimal, that means when you're well, you're healthy, you're balanced, you're healed, your energy flows freely throughout your body. I'm using my hands because I'm a visual person, right? And so imagine your energy flowing freely throughout your organs. So your organs are functioning optimally throughout your joints, your bones, your muscles, your cells, your veins, everything is functioning optimally because your energy is flowing as it should. However, when you have an illness, when you have disease, when you have trauma to the body, trauma to your mental, emotional state, or even stress causes trauma. That can disrupt the flow of energy in your body. So it goes from a state of you having optimal energy to you having dysregulated energy. When that happens, instead of your energy flowing freely throughout your body as it should, then it gets stuck. It gets stuck in your organs, it gets stuck in your joints, your blood vessels, your muscles, and it causes pain within the body. It also causes organ dysfunction, organ dysregulation, and that leads to stress, which leads to trauma, which leads to imbalances, illness, and disease. I predominantly work with people that have chronic autoimmune illnesses, lupus. I have lupus. And so, for example, someone with an autoimmune illness like lupus or any other chronic illness, if you are experiencing stress and trauma, then that will cause two dysfunctions with your energy and dysregulation with your organs. And then you are no longer in a state of optimal health. So hopefully that breakdown makes sense. All right. So that is why energy medicine is so important. We have to make sure that we have balanced energy. So now let's talk a little bit further about the holistic side when it comes to understanding the mind-body connection. And so I cannot stress this enough. There is a huge connection when it comes to your mind and your body, also with your emotional state. So let's talk about the science and the research behind this, and then I'll break it down further. So our mental state is unconscious. And even when a person is consciously thinking about things, most of the time they're functioning in a state of unconsciousness. And so the subconscious mind is typically what is working within us all the time. It's just like when you start driving down, the highway, you just kind of are zone out and then somehow you made it to your destination. That is an example of the unconscious mind working. And so the subconscious mind is known to process and deliver stored information to the conscious mind, which is how you can still function without actively thinking. And that includes memories and trauma. So, meaning that your body does not forget certain memories, even though you think you forgot it, your unconscious or subconscious mind still remembers it. Your body still remembers it. The mind-body connection is very powerful, and trauma can be physically, emotionally, and mentally stored in the body and ultimately affects the body, the biofield, and your energy levels. So energetic communications are continuously happening and taking place throughout the body and your human biofield. So if you have trauma, that means that your human biofield can be damaged by physical or emotional traumas or stress that you have endured. The human biofield can also affect illness, disease, cause tissue imbalances, so on and so forth. So the good thing is that the biofield can begin to self-regulate. and a DNA response will become activated within you, responding to the electromagnetic frequencies, detecting the source of imbalances or disease in the body. And that is why people say that your body has the ability to heal itself. You can heal yourself starting from an energetic level, and then that can heal your mental, emotional, and physical health. And so now let me break this down a little bit further. So when people think of health, they automatically think of physical health, which is true. However, if you're looking at health from a holistic perspective, mind, body, and soul, then you know that health isn't just physical, it's also mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, social, even sexual. There are so many different aspects of your health that can affect you. And so I want you to think of health from a mind, body, soul perspective. So when you experience that trauma, what happens within the body and what happens with your energy fields? When you experience that trauma or stress, that can alter your DNA and your energetic biofield, putting you in a state of fight or flight as a self-defense mechanism. What happens then is that your brain will automatically send a trauma response, and that will activate your sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system is when your brain goes into that fight or flight mode. And what we want to do, instead of allowing the stress to take over our mind, our emotions, and our body, we want to stay calm and balanced, which will send a signal from the brain to your body to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. So when you are experiencing any stress or trauma, that is why it's so important for you to self-regulate your emotions and your thoughts, because we don't want to activate stress or trauma within the body. All right, so now let's take this a little bit further. I want to talk to you guys about what I do as an intuitive energy healing coach. I have always been able to feel people's energy ever since I was a young girl. And as I've gotten older and I was able to grow my intuitive abilities and my healing abilities to not only heal myself, but now I brought that into my coaching practice to help other people heal when it comes to their physical ailments, pain in the body, when it comes to any stress or trauma that they've been through, to overcome illness, to overcome disease, and to learn so you can learn how to self-regulate yourself and create that awareness. It is key to listen to your body. And so what I do with intuitive energy healing is an energy medicine modality. And basically I use my intuitive abilities to connect with my client's energy. And I help to identify and release any emotions that are suppressed in the body. Everybody has emotional baggage. That's, things that we have gone through that we haven't dealt with, that we, have hurt us or cause that stress or trauma. And for example, things that make us want to cry. And we can make that conscious or subconscious decision to say, I don't want to cry right now. I don't want to deal with this right now. I have to go to work. I have to do this. I have to do that. I don't want to be sad. And we suppress it. And whether you're consciously making that decision or subconsciously, either way, remember our brain works consciously and subconsciously. So when that happens, we create that emotional baggage and then that gets stored in our body, causing the dysregulation of our energy. And so when you have suppressed emotions, that can be harmful and negatively affect your biofield and your health. And so these energies often come from negative or traumatic past events that are suppressed, or get this, guys, you can have suppressed emotions or trauma that is passed down generationally. So I'm sure you guys have heard the term generational trauma. And so if your parents when they conceived you, if they have emotional trauma or stress that they have not dealt with, they can pass that down to you. Just like mental health can be passed down, just like alcoholism could be passed down, anxiety could be passed down generationally, so can suppressed emotions. And so that is why it's so important, not only for yourself, but for your future generations to make sure that you're not passing that down throughout. And that's where you can, instead of having generational trauma, you can have generational healing. And so you can also absorb suppressed emotions from other people. Some people tend to be very empathetic. Those are called empaths, like myself. And so if you witness someone going through something traumatic, or they tell you about something traumatic that has gone on in their life, you can consciously or subconsciously take on that trauma, take on what they're going through because you empathize with them so much. And now you have suppressed emotions from what was just shared with you or what you witnessed. And so you can also absorb suppressed emotions from other people. And so with the intuitive energy healing process, again, not only do I help my clients identify any suppressed emotions, suppressed trauma, I also help them identify where it's being stored in the body, whether it's causing certain pain or ailments within the body. It could be a lingering pain. It could also be stored in your organs. So I help my clients identify which organs are being affected, and then we release whatever is suppressed. And guys, I cannot tell you how amazing it is. Instantly, my clients feel lighter, they feel better, they have an emotional release. And so sometimes you may be wondering, well, I don't want to relive the trauma that I went through. However, you have to do the work. And I promise you, you feel better after you release it. And so it's better to release than to store it within and deal with the consequences of illness and disease. And, it's good to heal. All right. So that is what I do with intuitive energy healing coaching. So a couple of things. If you would like to explore this kind of healing modality, you can definitely schedule an energy healing session with me. However, if that is not the route that you want to go, there are certain things that you can do to manage your nervous system, to manage your trauma, to manage your stress, to manage your emotions, your mental and physical health. So a couple key tips. It is important to be aware of the following. Try your best to recognize and create that awareness of your triggers so you can implement effective ways to handle them as they arise. Everybody has their own triggers. I have triggers, you have triggers. And so instead of ignoring your triggers, get to know yourself, create that awareness, and know what triggers you, meaning what upsets you, what takes you to a chill state to like now you're on 10. You have to know your triggers. And when you know your triggers, and that means that you can prepare for them when they come up for you. That means that you can regulate yourself, regulate your thoughts, regulate your behaviors and your emotions. So that is key. And that's something that anybody can do. It takes work, it takes practice, but it is beneficial. Next is honor your feelings when obstacles occur in your life, when you're stressed, when you go through something traumatic. And when I say honor them, that means acknowledging how you feel to yourself. And if it involves someone else, that means communicating how you feel to that person that's involved, if and when you feel comfortable. Sometimes, my clients say, well, I don't feel comfortable having that discussion with that person that just hurt me or, caused stress or trauma. And that's okay. Just acknowledging it to yourself is a form of release. If you want to take it a step further, you can actually write it down. You could say it out loud. I talk to myself all the time. You can speak to God, and just that is a form of letting it out. So honor your feelings and acknowledge them. Next is embrace the memories that resurface. And don't be surprised when past trauma that you thought you forgot something, remember, we can be triggered. And when we're triggered, then that means that those memories can resurface. And not just the memories, but the emotions that we suppressed way back when. And so don't be surprised when those memories or past trauma or those emotions come up. Embrace them, which it may sound weird, like, why am I embracing something bad that happened? Everything that we went through in life is a lesson learned. And so I want to encourage you to reflect on why this is still bothering you, why it's still a trigger for you, why it's coming up, so you can learn from it and then create healthy thoughts and behaviors for your healing journey forward. Again, it's practice, it takes time, but you can do it, you can manage it. And then lastly, if you are someone like me that likes to implement action, you can stay grounded by doing certain things. You can stay grounded by taking a walk outside, by prayer. Prayer is huge for me, by meditating, journaling, we talked about already. Being out in nature is a good reset button. Moving your body and exercise, which is also one of my favorites. Healthy nutritional habits helps to heal you from the inside out, drinking lots of water and getting enough rest. Those are just some of the things that you can do to regulate your nervous system. Self-regulation is key, and also have healthy tools and methods that you can implement so you can help yourself. And like I shared before, you can book an energy healing session with me. So I believe that that's it. Yes. I hope that in this brief, 20 minutes or so, that I was able to not just break down the science and the research behind energy medicine and energy healing, so you can have a better understanding of what I do as an energy healing practitioner. And I do want to share a little bit about my journey with energy healing. I shared a little bit. I have lupus, and I have gone through past trauma in my life. I've gone through physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, unfortunately. And for a long time, I sometimes I joke about it to make light of the situation, but I am a professional suppressor. And so I had no idea how much I was still holding on to and how much I was suppressing. It was not until, keep in mind, I got diagnosed with lupus like when I was 24 years old. That was a long time ago. And so when it comes to really taking a holistic approach to heal my lupus, I learned about the mind body soul connection. And it wasn't just, okay, Lizette, you need to work out, you need to exercise and eat good and drink a lot of water. It was, you need to heal your past trauma. And I promise you, as God is my witness, when I started to heal the past abuse and trauma that I had went through, that is when I was able to achieve remission. That is when I was able to eliminate the pain that I was storing in my body, that, yes, was lupus related. But when you heal yourself, you can heal your illness and disease. And I feel so much better. A lot of the pain that I used to experience from lupus, I know how to manage and I know how to regulate. My clients can tell you the same. That is just a little bit of my story when it comes to healing beyond the medication, healing beyond all the other healthy behaviors that I still encourage you to do. I do encourage you to really get to know yourself, create that awareness, and heal your trauma. So one final thing that I want to share is that energy healing can help a person move from a state of disease to an improved state and experience improvement with their health. So thank you guys for joining. I want to open this conversation up to see what questions you have, what comments you would like to share, anything.
So I have a question.
Yes, Brandon.
How close would you say your energy healing is to like Reiki?
That is a really good question. I'm glad that you asked. So First, if you remember, I talked about energy medicine. And so energy healing is a modality of energy medicine, meaning that it is a method. And so energy healing, Reiki, acupuncture, these are all things that encompass energy medicine. So for instance, I'll get to Reiki. Let's start with acupuncture. Acupuncture actually uses really thin needles, which I do acupuncture. And guys, I strongly advocate for acupuncture. That also helped me to achieve lupus remission. But like I said, it's all energy medicine. And so acupuncture uses needles called filaments, and they're placed in specific parts of your body to go through the meridians to balance your energy. And every single point, acupuncture point with those needles is placed in a certain area because it is tied to a certain organ. And so your acupuncturist is not just placing them wherever they think. They're strategically placing those so they can reactivate the energy that is governing the organs in your body. When it comes to Reiki, very similar to what I do, it is dealing with energy medicine again, but the Reiki practitioner is using their hands to move the energy. And with Reiki, they're not actually touching you. If you remember, I talked about the energetic biofield. They're
Right.
utilizing the biofield around you to move energy. What I do is I do not use my hands. I do not use needles like in acupuncture. I intuitively connect with my client's energy. So I can do that in person. I can do that over the phone. I can do that through Zoom. I conduct my sessions via Zoom. And I can feel people's energy from wherever they are in the world. I truly believe, and I say this to all my clients, um, I'm a firm believer in God. I truly believe that God gave me this gift. So it's not self-serving, it is to help others. And so hopefully that answered your question. I'm glad that you
Well,
asked me that. Yeah. Any other questions?
When I first got sick at my job in 2020, and I work around occupational therapists, nurses, health, and everybody had their own um, thing of what they thought was wrong with me. And
Mm-hmm.
out of those good about 15 people, only one was right because she said autoimmune, and it was lupus. But
Mm-hmm.
one of my co-workers came down and she would do Reiki. She was like, let's have a Reiki session. Like every day we were both on campus because I work at a college, and she would do that. And I was confused at first because I had never heard of anything like that. But as she continued to do it and I asked more questions, that's when she went more into it, how you had explained it here. So I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people get turned off because they just see the people doing it, but they're not asking questions. So I think this session was great, the way you showed the research behind it and then broke it down as what you do as a coach and how it affected you personally. So thank you.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand, or they think that it could be against their religion, their religious beliefs, or they're skeptical. And which is why I share with my clients that I do believe that this is a gift that God has given me. When I do the energy healing, I don't think I mentioned this, but yes, I identify what you suppressed, where it's being stored in the body, if it's causing pain or dysregulation with any of your organs, but I also identify when you suppressed it and what was happening in your life that was causing you to suppress whatever it was, the trauma that you went through. And so it could be very eye-opening because, like I shared, it could be something that you didn't think was affecting you anymore. But remember, the body remembers everything. Your brain remembers consciously or subconsciously. And so until you actually have that awareness and deal with it, you cannot let it go. And so very cool that you tried Reiki. I hope that it helped you. But the thing is, it's something that you should continuously practice so you can self-regulate if you are not, doing self-regulation practices on a consistent basis. I shared that list of things that you can do within yourself and in your day-to-day practice to self-regulate. And so, for example, if you are stressed about something, at least you realize that you're stressed. And what can you do to release some of that? Go for a walk, journal, talk to someone. There's so many things that you can do, exercise, get some rest. The list goes on and on. But yeah, it definitely takes practice. Whenever I teach yoga, I share with my students, really tune in to what your mind and your body is sharing with you, because there's something going on and your body's trying to communicate to you. And if you actually tune in and create that awareness, you can really figure that out. And it's just a matter of tuning in, creating that awareness, and, connecting with your higher self. Easier said than done. It does take practice, but it's possible.
With your methods or your healing, is it? Hmm. Okay, as a personal trainer, I'm sure you've experienced or heard this before, right? This idea that, oh, I can do a diet, and then once I achieve my quote unquote goals, I can revert my lifestyle back to how it was and the results will just stick. Is this a diet or is this a lifestyle change?
Who says that? I'm just kidding. Yeah, a lot of people do think that you could just, go back to your old ways. And it is definitely a lifestyle change. For example, with me, once I realized how much that I was storing within my body, as far as the past trauma, past stress, that I went through, I didn't want to revert back and, say goodbye to all the hard work that I did to heal myself. The healing process is not just, it's not all roses and sunshine. It can be difficult, but I knew that I had to go through that process so I could let the stuff go, so I could forgive my past self, so I could forgive others. And so I say all that to say, yes, it is a practice, because, for instance, with energy healing, let's say that I release the emotion of abandonment from my client. I bring up abandonment because that's like it's pretty common for people to store and suppress abandonment. And so let's say that I release abandonment from that person. They're going to feel better in the moment. If they get triggered in the future and they suppress abandonment again, then they're going to feel that same feeling that they felt prior to doing energy healing with me and me releasing it from them. And so that is why I say you have to recognize your triggers. So let's say that that same person, they get in a new relationship, their boyfriend or girlfriend broke up with them. Now they feel abandoned. They have that awareness. I am hurt. I feel abandoned by this person because they broke up with me. You have a choice. Are you going to suppress it, or are you going to choose to recognize that's a trigger for me and I need to acknowledge how I'm feeling? I need to work through this, shift your thoughts, shift your mindset, shift your behaviors. So that's just like an example that I can think of off the top of my head of, yes, it is a lifestyle, and you have a choice. You can allow those triggers to affect you. You can continue to suppress, or you can do the work to heal through that so it doesn't continue to affect you in the long run. Energy healing saved me. I was a very high strung, high stress person before, that did not want to be sad or deal with any of the trauma that I had gone through. And now I realize that that is not healthy for me. So it changed my thinking. It changed how I deal with my emotions. And it opened me up to a whole different world of healing. And it taught me that I can really regulate my emotions and my stress, which helped me to achieve lupus remission. And so, yeah, it saved me.
Yeah, like chronic illness and like lupus, that seems tough to get around.
Yeah, there's no cure for lupus. And so I'm going to have lupus for the rest of my life. When you have a chronic illness, that's why it's chronic, because you have it for life. But that doesn't mean that you have to give up on what you can do to help yourself. That's a key message that I'm sharing with you guys, and I share with everybody.
Going to add to what you were saying when answering his question, because it is a practice. It looks different for everybody.
Mhm.
So I've had these discussions with quite a few people, and some people equate it to religion. As far as healing in this way, it looks different for everybody. Some people, and you can even do it while praying and include it in your prayer.
I'm glad that you said that. Yeah, because I ask my clients if they're okay with it, if I can pray prior to our session. And, I respect their wishes. If they say no, I've never had a client say no, but if they did not allow it or didn't feel comfortable, then I wouldn't. But I really, that is a way for me to just show that person that it is not my will, it is God's will, it is your will. And we're talking about energy. My belief is that God created everything in this universe. And so he created the energy that's around us. And if you can do anything to help yourself and regulate your own energy, then that it is just a piece of the puzzle, healing yourself and healing everything and others around you.
Yeah, it's like creating a management system for yourself. And that's just how I look at it.
Anything else before we say goodbye? Any other questions or comments?
You said you were 24 when you were diagnosed with lupus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, establishing yourself in your 20s and trying to juggle that, like, how do you find balance in there? Is it unbalanced? Is it just chaos and then eventually it just levels out?
Well, I can answer that broadly, but since you're asking me specifically, I had to work on finding balance. That included my physical health. Working out and moving my body helped me to find that physical balance. I talked a lot about the emotional balance that I had to create for myself, but I also had to look at the world around me and the world that I created. I created a life that I was not happy with. I created a life that there was a lot of external stress around me. At the time, I call it my former life. I was working in one of the largest healthcare facilities here in Florida. I live in Florida, guys. And that environment was not conducive to my health. I was really good at my job. I used to work in human resources. I was an HR director making amazing money. That's what I got my master's in. And I wasn't happy. I was stressed out. My eye was twitching. I hated what I was doing. I hated having to fire people. I don't want to fire people. That's not part of my personality. I want to help people. I didn't care about administering a dress code or what color nails that you wore or if you had a nose ring. I didn't care about any of those things, but my job was causing stress for me because one, a hospital is chaotic, and that's what I walked into every single day. And two, it was not aligned with who I truly was authentically. I was not doing the work that God created me to do. And so once I realized that, there's no turning it off. I am aware now. God was speaking so loudly to me, Lizette, I did not create you for this. I'm intuitive. And so I feel like God was sending me signs and messages, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. And once I admitted it to myself, I'm in the wrong career. which holy crap, I'm going to change my whole life. I ended up completely switching careers in my late 30s. Who does that? I did. And so once I decided I'm going to follow my purpose, God, that led me to a life that was more balanced, more aligned, and what's conducive to my health and my healing. I share all of that because to answer your question, you know, you have to manage your stress. And in order to manage your stress, you have to identify where the stress is coming from. And so that's another yes, I do holistic and health and wellness coaching. I have an exercise program for my clients, a nutrition program, an energy healing program, but I also help people with their purpose because what you do every day in your life for your career affects your health. Stress management is key.
The idea or this concept of putting your life on hold while you figure it out, that never entered into your factor or into your equation?
I never put my life on hold. I coach my clients with purpose because let's be real, you have to continue to support yourself, pay your bills. And as an adult, I call it adulting. If you have the luxury to pause so you can figure things out, that is amazing. That is a gift. It's a blessing. However, a lot of us are not fortunate to just pause. And so when I say that I didn't put my life on hold, and not judging how anyone does this, and this is why I coach people, I really had to do some soul searching because I didn't want to put myself in a situation where I was choosing what I was going to do with my life and it was affecting my health. I didn't want to make that same mistake twice because I'm the one that chose that career path. I'm the one that chose not to manage my past trauma. And so in order to focus on what I could control, I really dove deep within myself. I did a lot of prayer, a lot of awareness of who I am. What are my talents? What are my gifts? Which that's where I got into energy healing. And then I created a plan while I was still working at the hospital to figure out and plan this new life that I live. And so that's just my method. And I coach my clients through, you know, actions and decision making when it comes to that. Because at the end of the day, if we don't have alignment with our career and our health and, you know, all aspects of health, everyone around us, we're going to continue to be stressed, be imbalanced, be unhappy, and then create further illness and disease. Everything is aligned and everything affects everything else. Going back to holistic health.
I was just saying thank you for having this.
Oh, well, thank you guys for joining. I will be doing this again. When it comes to holistic health, there's so many areas that we can discuss, and I love doing this. So if there's another topic that you would like to see discussed or that you would like to learn about, send me a DM, send me an email, send me a text, whatever. And yeah, we can make that happen. And thank you guys for joining. Yeah, please feel free to reach out if anything. And I appreciate you guys. Stay balanced, stay well, protect your energy, guys. Thank you.